So the first two seasons of Arrow were strong. In my opinion, actually, they're both equally good, while season 2, in my opinion, is actually a bit better. I was like, okay, let's get down to season 3. So, here's my review for Arrow, season 3. Arrow season 3. So recently season 3 of Arrow has just finished, and I was like, okay, it's time to collect my thoughts. And overall, as a season, I gotta say, this was actually a disappointing season. Now, I'm not saying the season was bad or terrible at any means. Definitely the weakest season we've had of Arrow. The first 2 seasons of Arrow were strong, and this one just didn't quite live up to that expectations. The first 9 episodes of Arrow, season 3, I actually thought it was, oh man, okay, they just get better and better. I was like, dang, this season 3 of Arrow is gonna be awesome. It's gonna be better than the previous 2 seasons. And the thing I loved about this season is that you saw Team Arrow growing, because you got Arrow, Arsenal, Felicity, and Diggle. And I love the interactions that Oliver and Roy had. And I thought Roy as a character got better, because like I said in season 2, he was such an annoying little bitch. So I thought as a character he grew, because there was actually some points where I was like, man, Roy, I actually like you, man. You're actually doing a good job. No problems with the actor, Colton Haynes. I don't have a problem with him. It's just the character I had a problem with. I love the camaraderie that the Team Arrow had. And after season 2 that Oliver went bankrupt and everything, it was kind of cool to see how everything's coming in. You see Brandon Routh coming in as Ray Palmer, who plays the Atom. He's like, okay, things are going to happen now and things get crazy. He turns into the Atom. And I thought Brandon Routh was a great addition to the cast of Arrow. There was a lot of times I was like, man, this guy, he's just pretty much stealing the show. Also, too, we saw that Ra's al Ghul was going to be the main villain of season 3. And I gotta say, Matt Nable as Ra's al Ghul really did a good job. I really liked how Matt Nable portrayed Ra's al Ghul. He was cool. The way he just carried himself, the body language, the way he spoke, you're like, okay, if I don't listen to you, I will probably die. So I'm just going to sit here and listen to you. Also, too, in season 3 of Arrow, we got to see the Flash crossover episode, which I thought was freaking awesome. It was really well done. Both episodes were really cool. So I was like, oh, damn. So we got the Flash crossover episode of season 3 as well. You're like, oh, man, this season's going to be amazing. Spoiler alert. You guys got 5 seconds. 1, 2. So, in the fall finale of Arrow, Ra's al Ghul kills Oliver. You're like, oh, shit. He kills him. Oh, crap. This is going to be weird. This is going to be crazy. It's going to be cool to see how the Team Arrow is now that Oliver's gone. I really want to see how it's going to be, how they're going to deal with crime now that he's gone. Because this season started off with Sarah Lance being killed. You're like, oh shit, they killed her. Oh man, who's going to be the Black Canary? And then in the comic books, Laurel Lance is the one who becomes the Black Canary. And I saw that and I was like, oh no. No, you don't buy it. See, the biggest problem with me is that the thing that makes Sarah Lance work as the Black Canary is because she had years of training with the League of Assassins. So you bought the fact that she could kick ass. What does Laurel got? Just to make myself clear, I'm not dissing the actress. I think Cassidy did great for what she was given. But I think the character, they really are messing up with this character of Laurel Lance because you just don't buy it. And then when she takes some boxing lessons, you're like, okay, that's not good enough, but I guess that's a start. But then I think it was episode 10 or 11, she becomes the Black Canary. And then that's when problems start to arise. And before I continue with my negatives, I just gotta say, Stephen Amell, as the show progresses, as an actor, he becomes better. As an actor, you see how much he's progressed. You see he's become a much more better actor. The scene that he has with him as John Scott Barrowman, who plays Michael Merlin, you see the two interacting with each other. And Barrowman is such a world-class actor. He's a really great actor. So when you see Stephen Amell and him going back at each other, you're like, wow, Stephen Amell is really holding his own. You see how much of an actor he has grown. I really give credit to him because in those episodes that he was not in, yeah, it was really missing something. You see how much Stephen Amell really carries the show. Another problem that I have with this season is that Olicity, the Olicity thing. In the first 2, for those of you guys who don't know what Olicity is pretty much Oliver and Felicity, the 2 characters together. It's the thing that the fans came up with. They're like, oh, we want to see Oliver and Felicity together. They're so cute together. I was actually not minding it in the first half of season 3 because it actually worked well. It was not in your face. It was like, oh, look, here's Olicity, like how it became later in the season. It wasn't like that. It was actually well balanced within the story and the show. Once the later half of season 3 happened, they messed it up entirely. One of the biggest reasons why Felicity is such a great character is because how strong of a female character she is. The character that she is compared to other women on television, you're like, she's such a strong character, and the way they developed her, it was great. You really cared for it. But the writers messed her up in season 3 of Arrow. There was a lot of times where she was just crying, whining, and just being overly dramatic about everything, and they messed her character up, and it actually kind of got annoyed by Felicity. And like I said, the whole Oliver and Felicity thing just got so in your face. You're just like, I'm done with it. I don't want this Olicity thing to happen. And they just made Felicity go in this love triangle between Ray, Oliver. I just didn't like that aspect, and they just really messed up Felicity's character. And the thing about the season, to me, it kind of like focused. Because in the first season of Arrow, Malcolm Miller was the villain. Okay, they were dead focused. Okay, that's the villain. Season 2, Deathstroke was the main villain. Deathstroke is the main villain. In this season, it was out of focus. There was a lot of different villains. You know, you saw Brick as the villain, and there were some things that Oliver was doing. Like, there are too many subplots, and it wasn't focused enough on this one thing. I do think season 3, the writers really messed up in the second half of season 3 of Arrow, because the first 9 episodes, I thought it was going to be better than the previous 2 seasons. But the writers just messed up. I do think these problems that they have right now, these problems that are happening with the story of Arrow and the characters, everything that's going on with Arrow, these are all things that can be fixed with season 4 of Arrow. So I think hopefully the writers learn from the mistakes, because this season turned off a lot of Arrow's viewers. Because some people actually left season 3 of Arrow saying, okay, this is just too sloppy and too convoluted, I gotta leave. And so I think the writers really gotta win back some of their lost viewers with season 4. So these are all things that can be fixed. But as it stands right now, season 3 as a whole, I do think it's disappointing. There are great points with it. I don't think it's a terrible season, but as a whole, it is definitely the weakest season of Arrow. So I'm going to give Arrow season 3 a C+. I did enjoy a lot of the episodes. I stuck around. There were some points where I was like, oh man, I'm not sure about the direction they're going with this character, but I was like, okay, let me just stick around. And overall, I liked it. The season finale, I really thought it was disappointing. It didn't really give that much payoff. It felt more like a series finale rather than a season finale. So I give it that, but also too, it leaves a lot of things interesting down the road for season 4 to explore. So I'm really interested in seeing that. But as it stands, season 3 of Arrow was definitely disappointing, but it was still an okay season. So guys, that's some review for Arrow season 3. What did you think of this season? Did you think it was disappointing, or we actually liked this season? Did you actually think this season was actually better than the previous 2? Or do you think it was just as good as the first 2 seasons? Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching my video, and as always, ladies and gentlemen, have a nice day.